We're at a point right now where we can't tell if these videos that people have been posting about aliens are real or fake.
Why is Nikola Tesla at Niagara Falls?
While the biblical stories of Jonah famously mentions a great fish that swallows the prophet, Jewish and Christian traditions frequently link his story to the Leviathan.
You guys already know in this video we got all types of mysterious and strange TikToks, weird theories that no one can explain. Hit that like and subscribe button as we dive through these videos and try to make sense of all this madness.
We're at a point right now where we can't tell if these videos that people have been posting about aliens are real or fake. James Franco just posted some shit that I can't tell if it's real or fake because it looks too real. Now, mind you, before I show you this video, I need you to know, people close to James Franco has been saying that James Franco has been acting different. He's been online claiming that people are following him. He made numerous videos saying that people hacked his accounts. And then he made videos saying that he was going to show us something on July 13th. And look what he posted.
The day is here, 7/13. That's July 13th, today. I promised you I was going to reveal something because I found something.
Listen.
It was thrust upon me. I didn't ask for this. People have said I'm crazy. I've been through a lot. My account got hacked twice.
Listen.
Twice, people trying to shut me down so that I don't get this out. Okay, enough. Here we go. 7/13. You wanted it. Here it is. I delivered.
Look at this shit. Look at this shit. What's that? I had to zoom in on this video for you. Now I need to ask you a question. What do you think that is? Look at that shit right there. Mind you, he's saying that shit was at his window. Look. Now you're going to have a lot of people say that he's an actor. And yes, he is an actor. But he's been acting real strange lately. Maybe it is an act. Or maybe it's not. But what if it's not? I'm out.
Oh my goodness.
Why is Nikola Tesla at Niagara Falls? His alternating current system first sent Niagara Falls electricity to Buffalo and changed how the world was powered. Why is Nikola...
I'm not sure, but that's a hard statue. I like how the cape's flapping in the back. He's pointing forward on top of this generator like a superhero. That's pretty cool. Now I see why people can stare at a painting for hours.
The child in this painting is being forced to write his own death sentence. He is too young to read it. Painted in 1656 by Salvator Rosa, human fragility hides its meaning in 5 details. Start with the figure behind the boy, a winged skeleton, death leaning over his shoulder. Now look at death's hand. It is gripping the child's wrist. Death is not taking him. Death is making him write. Now look at the paper. Conception is a sin. Birth is a punishment. Life is toil. Death is a necessity. Now look at the woman's hair, a crown of pale roses. Rosa, the painter's own surname. He crowned this woman with his own name because she was his partner, and the child on her lap was his son. Both of them real. The boy already dead of plague when this was painted. Now look at the children on the left. One holds a torch. One blows bubbles. The torch will burn out. The bubble will burst. 2 of the oldest symbols of a life that ends. And now look into the shadows on the right. An owl. In Italian tradition, the owl was never wisdom. It was the bird that appeared before a death in the house. Rosa placed it in the darkness, watching his own family. He put them all into this painting and handed the pen to death. Most people will look at this and see an allegory. You now see a father's confession.
Pyramids making plasma bubbles now. Wait till you hear this. So China has this massive radar that can pretty much scan half the planet at one time. It's called LARID, Low Altitude Long Range Ionospheric Radar. It's just this, but way bigger, and it detects plasma. Now, it's actually not a bubble of plasma over the pyramids. It's a lack of plasma over the pyramids, a void of plasma. They also all include a picture of the pyramids and don't talk about them at all in the articles. Why do we care? Plasma is not only the fourth state of matter, it is the mother of all matter. Stars are balls of plasma. When they supernova, they create everything else from plasma through nuclear fusion. So we could say from the Tao there comes one. From that one comes three. And from the three comes all things. That's actually from the Tao Te Ching, ancient China flexing a little bit. Speed round. Plasma is charged photons or loose electrons. Is the visible form of electricity and fire. Doesn't care about you, it'll go through you like a spicy ghost. When high voltage plasma goes through a pyramid, it comes out in a helix. When radio waves like Larid interact with a pyramid, it focuses electromagnetic energy into the earth. So what you're seeing isn't the pyramids blowing a hole in the atmosphere. The research suggests it's vortexing into the earth. If you know anything about Tesla's work, you'll know why this is insane. Tesla's wireless power wasn't through the air, it was through the earth through something called xenic waves. These waves can even travel over things on the earth. They're very real. A funny thing happens when these waves interact with water. They create something called exclusion zone water. This fourth phase not only removes impurities through the bond structure, it significantly increases crop yield, and the water acts like a battery holding the charge of that plasma in it. This technique is being funded and used by the EU today. Now, if only the pyramids interacted with water somehow. I could talk about this all day, but unfortunately, my time here is up.
Did you know that there's a history between dragons and black people? Let me explain. It's going to make sense. All throughout the world, you can find different cultures with dragons in them. Once believed to have been a mythological creature, it turns out that the myth might have been real after all. Well, somewhat. Scientists unveils a 240 million year old dragon fossil. Newly discovered fossils have allowed scientists to reveal a 240 million year old dragon in its entirety for the first time ever, National Museum Scotland said in a statement on Friday. And I quote, "It's curled around in this sort of figure 8 and is very reminiscent of a Chinese dragon." So this dragon was found in China and it was called Dinocephalosaurus. This one is called Tenostrophia. And it's found in Europe, Asia, and North America. It was also dubbed a dragon. Now, this is where black people come in. Another place that you can find dragons is the Holy Bible. If you read Job 41, it describes one of the most fierce creatures ever created. Its name is Leviathan. If you read Psalms 104, it explains how Leviathan used to sink ships, which led many to theorize that Leviathan is still alive in the Bermuda Triangle. If you go to Jonah chapter 1 and verse 17, it reads, "Now the Lord had prepared a great fish to swallow up Jonah, and Jonah was in the belly of the fish 3 days and 3 nights." Now, when you read Matthews 12 and 40, Christ refers to the great fish as a whale, but this fish was a Leviathan. While the biblical stories of Jonah famously mentions a great fish that swallows the prophet, Jewish and Christian traditions frequently link his story to the Leviathan. So why is this important? Because black Judo-Christians in Rome painted themselves in the catacombs with Leviathan. First, let me show you that these black Judo-Christians were actually black. This is my next source, The History of the Jews. And I quote, "The Jews of Italy. Pius V, by nature a sinister ecclesiastic, delighting in the persecution, who treated Jews as the cursed children of Ham." He treated them like the cursed children of Ham because they were black. This is my next source, Jewish Civilization. And I quote, "Coats of arms of Jewish Italian families. Look at the black heads." And just to show you that Jonah is indeed black, this is the Oxford Medieval History. This is Daniel, Hosea, Jonah, and King David. This is my next source, The Unknown Catacombs. Look at Jonah with the Leviathan. So as you can see, Jonah is being swallowed not by a whale, but by a Leviathan. This is my next source, Catacomb Rome. And this is my last source, St. George and the Dragon. Look at St. George. He's a black man. Did you know that there's a history between dragons? Look at Jonah with
this mural right here of it not being a Leviathan. Of it not being a whale, but an actual Leviathan eating Jonah. That is crazy. I do wonder sometimes of like, what's my culture? Where do I come from? It just feels like everything's stripped. This honestly makes a lot of sense to me. And he's saying King David is up
Daniel, Hosea, Jonah, and King David.
I tried to tell you that those old fireplaces wasn't used for burning coal and wood, and you didn't believe me. But when I say I got your ass, oh, I've got your ass. So, this is how the fireplace used to work. There would be a metal plate at the back of the firebox which would reflect infrared rays when the fireplace was heated up. There would also be 2 ether capacitors in the fireplace which provokes eddy currents in the metal frame which transmits them to the metal plate at the back. Eddy currents are current loops formed over conductor surfaces due to changing magnetic flux. They are useful in induction heating, levitating, electromagnetic damping, and electromagnetic braking. So the fireplace and the roof are both connected by metal bondings through the chimney. The whole construction becomes one solid conductor, and then the energy that's gathered from the ether gets converted into heat. In other situations, they even used radium for heating. I guess that's the reason why we're still calling radiators even till this day. I mean, come on, brother. Do you really think they was burning wood and coal in these fireplaces?
Not when they look this good. They just happened to walk upon it and just said, you know what? This looks nice.
That's what the savages did when they came along and found these empty buildings, because they didn't know how to use the technology. And the size of the fireplace definitely wasn't built by us. So yeah, I've said this many times before. The eyes are useless when the mind is blind.
This place is proof of the Nephilim giants mentioned in the Bible. The largest stones ever cut, moved, or lifted are found here in the Baalbek ruins of Lebanon, and legends have it this place was built by said giants right before the Great Flood. With massive individual stones weighing over 800 tons each, that is over 1,000,000 pounds. Some of the largest blocks here weigh over 3 million. I don't buy for a second that any of these guys can make one of these stones just budge, even if their life depended on it. Y'all, we can't even do that today. Just look at these modern day machines. Can't even lift up a fraction of these blocks. And Baalbek has the largest stones ever quarried in human history. Some of these stones are 65 feet long, 14 feet high, and 13 feet thick. But we're told the stones had to be excavated from a quarry half a mile away, moved uphill, and then lifted 30 plus feet off the ground. Of course, the pseudo-historians have their theories on how it was done. By laying them on logs and pulling rope, of course. Another theory is they used 800 oxes to pull them with even more rope from the site. Alright, pack it up guys, that's all we need to see here. These stones are perfectly cut to such a precision that even a piece of paper can't slide in between them. That is a common trait across many megaliths. Now for some reason, the mainstream archaeologists give credit to the fake-ass Romans, despite not only the fact that this site is 1,400 miles away from Rome, but even according to them, the Romans didn't have the technological or physical capabilities to create such a megalithic structure in the first place. The Romans didn't build shit here, it was found. Just as we've seen in other examples throughout the world, people find these sites from previous advanced civilizations and then build atop them. Even a child can see the contrast from not only how large the blocks are at the foundation, but how much older they are in comparison to these small little ghetto blocks up top. You got humans, giants, and then you do a little bit of research and you find out about the Smithsonian cover-up of giant skeletal remains being dug up all throughout the early 1900s. Thousands of accounts of articles in newspapers reporting giants being found all throughout North America alone, only for it all to be explained away as some elaborate hoax afterwards. Right. You know, giants were once common knowledge. Mark Twain is actually quoted after visiting Baalbek saying, "A race of gods or giants must have inhabited Baalbek. It would be impossible for men of today to build something like this." Now, it's not just the size of the stones. There were originally over 200 of these red granite columns that were originally sourced from a quarry in Egypt, meaning they weren't only just transported across the Nile and moved over 900 miles, but they had to be carried up and over the Lebanon mountains. The Lebanon mountains are over 8,200 feet in elevation, with peaks over at 10,000 feet. Few people realize that these 200 multi-ton columns had to be carried over this mountain. Oddly enough, there's also over 100 mentions of Lebanon within the Bible. Some ancient historians claiming that this place was actually built by Cain, the son of Adam, with the help of the giants. There's also legends that it was the notorious Nimrod who was responsible for commanding the giants to build this temple. And yes, that is Nimrod holding a lion like a house cat. No big deal. The existence of giants have been suppressed only within the past 2 centuries. Dinosaurs are a psyop. They never existed. All those dinosaur bones are giants and dragons. They made dinosaurs up to push evolution, to hide our past, to give you a materialistic worldview, to hide spiritual realities, and most importantly, not let you realize that all of these ancient cultures were right. Whether it was the Egyptians, the Native Americans, Mayans, Aztecs, every single culture recorded giants and these god-king dynasties that ruled over humanity before a great cataclysm wiped them out. It was only up until the 1800s when we started getting ingrained with the pseudoscience of dinosaurs, evolution theory, Big Bang nihilism, that the real history suddenly became a myth. If you do enough research about our past, you'll realize nothing is as it seems.
How hilarious is this? All 3 of them are trying to move this giant block. This might be generated, but it could give you a glimpse in how we can actually struggle to move those giant blocks with modern day equipment. You know, it's just it makes you wonder how they were able to do it back in the day if we're struggling with modern equipment to move it like this.
Filfla Island, conventional versus crackpot explanation. Conventional, a small island off the coast of Malta in the Mediterranean Sea that was used as aerial bombing target practice by the US and British during and after World War II. Crackpot explanation. Giants, or more specifically the remaining tree stump of a gargantuan tree that was chopped down by giants and has since become petrified over a long period of time, which essentially turns it into a rock. Part of the larger ancient giant trees theory, where it's said that trees up to 50 miles high covered the earth and were harvested by the giants told by every ancient culture's folklore, like Devil's Tower in Wyoming, Giant's Causeway in Ireland, Cerro-Watana in Venezuela, and Jugurtha Tableland in Tunisia, among many, many others. The nearby island country of Malta is also home to its own ancient megalithic temples like Hagar Kim, built with stones of such immense size that it's deemed impossible for regular humans to move and lift, or Gigantia, which literally translates to place of giants on Malta's island of Gozo, where local legend says this temple was built by a giantess named Sansuna, whose largest stone weighs 50 tons, equivalent to about 35 cars stacked on top of each other, estimated to have been built around 3600 BC, a whole 1,000 years before the first pyramids in Egypt were built, suggesting that a race of giants lived in Malta before a global cataclysm wiped them out. And in fact, the Hypogeum of Halsaflieni, an underground necropolis on Malta dating back to about 4000 BC that was discovered by accident in 1902, contained over 7,000 skeletons of presumed giant bones, along with mysterious elongated skulls that were found by archaeologist Sir Temi Zamit, and were on public display in the Valletta Museum of Archaeology until 1985, when they were mysteriously removed without explanation. And yeah, Filfla Island was a tree these giants chopped down or something. Today, no one is allowed on it as it's a protected nature reserve and may also have some unexploded bombs laying around. Filfla Island, conventional versus crackpot explanation.
Yikes, it does look like a giant tree stump from right here. If you just look at it and you decide to say what it was. Tree stump! This giant 50-foot snake was photographed in the Congo in 1959. Have any of you guys seen the movie Anaconda with Ice Cube and J-Lo?
But it was in Africa, the Congo, that an undoubtedly monstrous specimen appeared to confront this Belgian helicopter pilot, Remy van Leerde, as he returned from a mission in 1959.
So as we had a camera on board, I decided to make several passes over the hole where the snake was in able to let the man take a picture of it. And I made certainly between 4 and 6 passes right over the hole where the snake was in. By then I was already flying for 25 years, so I have a very good experience of measuring things. And I would say the snake I saw there was close to 50 feet. I don't know, you say 50 foot or 50 feet, but very close to certainly. And it was moving inside the hole and looking very dark green, deep green, brown, with his belly white. Now when I came down on that snake in his hole, and I would see at about 25, 30 foot up, the snake raised up by about, I would say, 10 foot. And I could very clearly, closely see the head, which was looking, and I could not make a better comparison, with a very large horse, with big, very, very big jaws, looking triangular. And you're just standing up like that to me, and I'm convinced if I had been in its range, it would have struck at me, it would have been striking me. And yet, I would say it was certainly at least on the very 2 foot wide and 3 foot long. It could have easily eaten up a man.
Just imagine the helicopter whirling and the dude sitting on the edge trying to get a good photo, and the wind up force from the helicopter is making the anaconda, lose control, and it kind of like raises up, and it's like trying to get a good look, and that's when he saw them jaws, them horse-like jaws. Damn, you better not land too close because it's over. Oh man. Legend says it's still out there wandering. I need one of these tools, man, because this exposes it. This is like, how much beams am I getting hit with today? Oh, only 20 decibels. I guess I'm all right here. You know what I'm saying? 20 VMs, voltage meter, RF, EMF level. I feel like I need to learn this. What is this sign? UW/M squared? I feel like they should teach us to read one of these. Don't you? I feel like this is the water starter kit. The broadband RF meter, the telescope, and a microscope. That's the Dark Waters 9 starter kit. Those 3 right there is a must.
You never know when you might need the darker sides of your character integrated within you in a manner that doesn't terrify you in order to take the next step forward. If you're not a bit of a monster and you encounter a monster, you're going to lose. So you need to have some of the monster within you. That's what happens to Harry Potter, right? That's why he is able to attain ascendance over Voldemort. He has a piece of Voldemort's soul hidden inside him. You never know when you might need the...
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know what I'm more mad at. Him trying to activate my Devil May Cry devil trigger, or this suit. He said, look, these people need to know that sometimes you just need to hawk up on somebody. Babe, hand me the 2-piece with the maroon and dark blue. They need to know. I'm bad at that jacket. This is screaming Two-Face vibes from Batman. Sometimes you just need to hawk up inside. This is another example why you want to leave the quiet ones alone, the people that stay to themselves. You really don't know what they battling inside.
This is for the people that will be thinking about something and not even say it, look at their phone, and what they were thinking about shows up on their phone. This is the patent for system and method for enhancing content using brain state data.
Guys, how many times have I brought this up to you? And my boy Jay has found it. Shout out to Jay Wilson. This is critical information, guys. I'm not gonna hold you up.
The information over here says the current assignee is InteraXon Incorporated, worldwide applications, and it is active, which means it's in use right now. How is this possible? Biosensors for brainwave data. Brainwaves.
You know how that dude does those food shorts and he'll take off his glasses and start throwing them? I would do that with my Dicinians right now, because this is exactly what I've been talking about. Guys, you guys already know.
Sensor. Abstract. A computer system or method may be provided for modulating content based on a person's brainwave data, including modifying presentation of digital content at least one computing device. The content may also be modulated based on a set of rules maintained by or accessible to the computer system. The content may also be modulated based on user input, including through receipt of a presentation control command that may be processed by the computer system of the present invention to modify presentation of content. Content may also be shared with associated brain state information. Classifications: detecting physical presence or behavior of the user. Example given: using sensors to detect if the user is leaving the room or changes his face expression during a TV program. Input-only peripherals, i.e. input devices connected to specially adapted client devices. Example given: global positioning system biosensors. Example given: heat sensor for presence detection. Electroencephalography sensors or any limb activity sensors worn by the user. Monitoring a patient using a global network. Example given: telephone networks, internet. Evaluating the state of mind. Example given: depression, anxiety. Electroencephalography, EEG, input arrangements based on nervous system activity detection. Example given: brainwave, EEG detection. Electromyograms, EMG detection. Electrodermal response detection. ICT, specially adapted for the management or administration of healthcare resources or facilities. ICT, specially adapted for the management or operation of medical equipment or devices, for the operation of medical equipment or devices from remote operation. Synchronizing the
You want to talk about gang stalking? Gang stalkers are on a whole nother level now because they got access to your biofield, bucko.
Of multiple content streams or additional data on devices. Example given: synchronization of audio on a mobile phone with the video output on the TV screen. Like, check it, just look at these. Monitoring of content usage. Yeah, pretty crazy stuff. Go ahead and pause and read these if you like.
Displaying an avatar. What? An animated cartoon character? People talk about that digital ID. Could they just be trying to completely emulate us in a whole different digital dimension?
Cross-reference to related applications in the field of invention. The present invention relates to biosignal collection methods and systems that utilize biosignal data. This invention relates more particularly to visualization tools and methods. Background of the invention: biosignals are signals that are generated by biological beings that can be measured and monitored. Electroencephalographs, galvanometers, and electrocardiographs are examples of devices that are used to measure and monitor biosignals generated by humans. A human brain generates biosignals such as electrical patterns, which may be measured or monitored using an electroencephalogram, EEG. These electrical patterns or brainwaves are measured by devices such as EEG. Typically, an EEG will measure brainwaves in an analog form. Then, these brainwaves may be analyzed either in their original analog form or in a digital form after an analog to digital conversion. Measuring and analyzing biosignals such as brainwave patterns can have a variety of practical applications. For example, brain-computer interfaces have been developed that allows users to control devices and computers using brainwave signals.
Oh my god. Real quick, there could be someone out there that's like me and doesn't really understand what EEG means. Electroencephalogram. Electroencephalograph. electrocephalography, EEG, is a non-invasive, painless diagnostic test that records the brain electrical activity using sensors, electrodes onto the scalp to detect issues like, but they are literally using leads when doing the graphy. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're putting leads on someone's head to detect this. Like the same thing with the EKG when they're trying to measure the heart rhythms. So the theory goes, tinfoil hat time, that they don't need these leads now. Your body gives off a biofield, and they're able to tap into this biofield and able to read the electroactivity going on in the biofield to be able to read these things. If you ever been scrolling on your phone and you just been thinking, oh man, I think I need a portable charger. You know what I'm saying? You just thinking about portable charger, and bam, portable charger pops up on your timeline or just your ads for your phone, because it's able to go into your brain's electrical activity and see that that's what you're thinking about. At least ask us if you're going to be all up in our biofield. Give us private protection of our own biofield, you know?
Various platforms exist for creating or capturing content and communicating this content either to the creator or the creator's audience. There's a need to improve the evocative nature or engaging nature of communication platforms and methods. This invention can determine your brain state in real time. And as this is happening, they can modify the content in real time. All of these things are in real time. If you want to pause, you can read that. Real-time advertising bidding is talking about rendering the content in real time. The audience watching the video may be also rendered around the video frame in real time. Crazy stuff. As you can see right here, says the digital content presented may include live audio or video content. You can read all this, pause. Use live brainwave algorithms. You can pause and read this. This is just crazy. Here is a good example. In a
It says live brainwave algorithms could get more nuanced details subconsciously while users are engaging with the content. Further, the temporal nature of real measure would allow the recommended engine to detect a user's response to a specific moment or specific sections of the content. Machine learning algorithms, which currently underlie most recommendation systems, may benefit from having recommended content also measured based on the output from the computer system. What computer system? Who's in control of this computer system? You mean the AI learning system of the present invention in terms of brain state algorithms of the present invention? Machine learning algorithms typically use a training paradigm. They are telling us these machines are learning, guys. Oh my God. Machine learning and paradigm does not belong in the same sentence. Let me say that one more time. Machine learning and paradigm does not belong in the same sentence. Let me read this one more time. Machine learning algorithms typically use a training paradigm. I need a vacation, y'all. These waters are never ending. Ugh. Thus, real-time and immediate feedback on the accuracy of the recommendation may be of benefit to improve of recommended engines in general, shown figure 13. I might need to look at this patent. The non-limiting implementation of the present invention showing a client computing device in communication with a brainwave cloud platform of the present invention. So this information is in communication. The brainwave communication is going to a cloud platform. How many times have we heard that the AI is going to be in the cloud? You know what I'm saying? This is eye-opening.
Use live brainwave algorithms. You can pause and read this. This is just crazy. Here is a good example. In a non-limiting example, educational or learning content may be provided by the computer system of the present invention, where the presentation of the content is modified based on the level of concentration or focus or other brain state experienced by the user, determined as described. Similarly, in another example, a feed of web-based content, example given a live or pre-recorded feed, may be changed based on user's brain state. You can pause and read more if you would like.
It almost makes sense when certain agendas are being pushed now, because it's like if you keep seeing a certain thing on the news, or if you keep seeing certain things people are talking about, it's almost like they understand your emotions and your feelings and your response, so they're going to continuously show that to you. You know what I'm saying? Because the machine understands your reaction to what you like. If your heart rate elevates or certain levels amplify when you're watching certain things, it's going to understand that.
Emo state editor, brain state, emo state. Like, just pause and like actually just click the link that I provide and check it out. Let's look at some of these cited by. Patent citations. As I scroll through, you can pause to read. We have universal integration and interaction of multiple technologies in the human signals method. Crazy. 391 cited by. Face recognition control and social networking. Like, yeah, you guys are gonna have to click it, look it up. Alright.
Someone said, stop wearing those earbuds. It is mapping your brain. Look into backscatter technology. Backscatter technology.
This is not crazy now, because there's articles coming out where they're saying that your Wi-Fi router can now act as a surveillance system in your home.
And that's backscatter technology. That's the really sophisticated stuff. That's the measurement of the wavelengths of the electrons that travel through your house.
So this is all. So the core of all this, and this is, I kind of want to keep the conversation here because it is esoteric, but it's also rooted in objective reality. This is not crazy now, because there's articles coming out where there's.
Literally in the Matrix. We got zeros and ones all around me. Get me out of here. This is getting crazy, y'all. This is getting real. You remember the Animatrix? If you haven't seen the Animatrix, I highly recommend that. You know, it's people trying to break out the Matrix, man. When people say breaking out the Matrix, do you really understand what that means? We are getting backscattered. We are getting backscattered. We're getting mapped out by these EEGs. Our biosensors is a open coloring book. Do you really understand what it means for us to be in these Matrix? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'm even talking to the lurkers. You've never dropped a comment on this channel? Now might be the time to drop your thoughts and tell us what you think is really going on. No more backseat driving. It's time to participate on these waters. Hit that like and subscribe button while you're at it. It helps this content get out there and show it to more like-minded people. I'm talking to all the lurkers, all the backseat drivers. It's time to participate.
Every camera you walk past that is integrated with AI systems increasingly can decode mental states.
There's some really interesting research that we can plant false memories in the brain. People believing that they've been at Disney World with characters who are not Disney characters, taking photographs with those characters.
Those products are hitting the market this year. What they will be capable of doing is very high-level brain state reading. Things like, are you tired? Are you paying attention? Is your mind wandering? Are you happy or sad?
One of the emerging areas that's really interesting in law neuroscience is pain detection. And once we understand the circuitries that cause pain, I guess the question is, could we then instill pain and use that in many coercive measures in the legal system as well?
We can pick up and decode faces that you're seeing in your mind. Simple shapes, numbers, your PIN number to your bank account.
Every camera you walk past that is integrated.
I almost want to go back and watch my episodes where we was diving deep into brainwave technology and nanobots. What the future of AI is going to be. It hits a little bit harder after looking at those patents, I'm not going to lie.
You've seen this video where Bill Hader literally shapeshifts into Tom Cruise and then Seth Rogen. Check it out.
And I go, yeah, you know, I'm friends with Judd Apatow and Seth Rogen, and they went to your house and went, yes. They did come to my house, and I said, Seth Rogen was like, you know, it was amazing. He has like a bike track in his backyard. It's phenomenal. and I did a Seth Rogen impression, and it was like I did a magic trick. Tom Cruise was like, yeah.
I don't mean to be rude, but I cannot tell you how many people have sent this to me telling me to check it out because Bill Hader is a shapeshifter. But it doesn't take much research, people, not at all, to just go find the original clip.
And I go, yeah, you know, I'm friends with Judd Apatow and Seth Rogen, and they went to your house and went, yes. They did come to my house, and I said, Seth Rogen was like, you know, it was amazing. He has like a bike track in his backyard. It's phenomenal. and I did a Seth Rogen impression, and it was like I did a magic trick. Tom Cruise was like, yeah.
No shapeshifting, just AI or a good filter. And people have been sending this to me for 2 years. And for 2 years, I've been saying, it's just a filter, people. And look, I realize that was a little bit ahead of time for what most people think that AI has come out with. But AI has been here for thousands of years. It's literally how they wrote all our fake history textbooks. AI isn't new. They're just slowly releasing it to the public, but they've been using it forever. And I'm not even saying shapeshifting doesn't exist. I'm just saying this isn't it. Bill Hader could very well be a shapeshifter, but if you want real instances of shapeshifting, let me show you.
Clint Eastwood.
Wait. Now, this is real shapeshifting. Yeah, Jim Carrey can do impersonations, but his head and his hair and his ears, it's moving in ways that isn't normal.
Not my boy Jim. No!
I truly think they have holographic technology that can disguise them and allow them to get away with things that they shouldn't be able to get away with. Like fully disguising their faces or shape-shifting to other characters. Just watch how some of this moves. That's shape-shift.
No, he's just talented. Leave Jim alone.
And I have a couple more examples I'm going to show you. And what is he? He's a fallen angel. I put a lot of money that Jim Carrey is an actual fallen angel. And have you ever seen when John McCain saw General Petraeus shapeshift? I'll show you the whole thing and then get back to this.
About the message we are sending in the region, about whether we're actually going to stay or not, and whether we're going to do what's necessary to succeed rather than set an arbitrary timeline. And the best way to...
Shocked. Oh my God. Oh my God, this ain't. Because he's shapeshifting. Yeah. And they're hiding him. They're hiding him.
We're going to recess now for a few moments.
This might be one. They might have caught him. Let me stop before y'all start saying I'm shape-shifting. But he might have started. You know what I'm saying? You might not know. And you see how they changed the camera? We can't see all the, facial shape-shifting going on.
Hide him.
Okay.
Now, I've done a full video on this, but watch his face. He's morphing, shape-shifting, and when he walks away, there's even more. And again, another video I've already done in full is Elvis shape-shifting after he kisses this little girl. And weird things start happening, like his hands glitching out. And not only him, but this guy that walks around behind him. This guy, watch this, I'll show you closer. Watch when he walks back here. It's subtle, but he walks by and goes from that to that to...
I did see something real quick. I did see it. Because when he walked behind him, it was like his face did go pale for a second.
This guy, watch this, I'll show you closer. Watch when he walks back here.
We got a Draco reptilian. This may be the first Draco reptilian, I think, 100%.
And not only him, but this guy that walks around behind him. This guy, watch this, I'll show you closer. Watch when he walks back here.
Draco reptilian. Damn. That's wild. This is crazy, guys.
It's subtle, but he walks by and goes from that to that to that. Remember, they tell us in the movies. And if this isn't weird enough for you, or Elvis's eyes bugging out, well, tie it all in to this clip I found. I'm going to make this connection for you for the 1000th time. The Statue of Liberty is actually Lucifer. It's as clear as day once you just give it a little look. And the Statue of Liberty had an original face that matched somebody. And
you put the wig on him, that is wild. It looks just like him.
That matched somebody. And they changed it so you wouldn't know who that statue was worshiping. And that guy you think died, he didn't die. He just faked it and became someone else. Someone that a lot of you are still worshiping. And that's where they want you. They want you worshiping the fallen instead of the Most High. I mean, look at that hair even, for crying out loud. But of course, all this for entertainment purposes. People, I know there aren't really shapeshifters out there, and I especially know people don't fake their death and become other people. And they definitely don't tell us the truth right in plain sight, and shapeshifting fallen angels definitely aren't among us. All for entertainment purposes. I'm a satire account, and this has been for your entertainment only.
What an absolute wild ride. But I thought the shape-shifting was in my territory, so I definitely wanted to check that out. But that guy behind Elvis, that had to be some of the best shape-shifting footage I've ever seen.
What if the mountains aren't mountains? the petrified remains of a forest so enormous that we've been living in it for 10,000 years without recognizing what we're standing in. The giant trees theory begins with a geological anomaly that mainstream science has never adequately explained: the existence of mesa formations. Flat-topped mountains with perfectly horizontal summit plains and near vertical sides that erosion alone cannot produce in any geological model currently accepted. Devil's Tower in Wyoming, the buttes of Monument Valley, Table Mountain in South Africa, the Zhangjiajie columns in China that NASA's own imaging team described as having no satisfactory geological formation explanation. All of them share the same structural profile: a circular or hexagonal base, vertical sides, a flat top, internal columnar geometry. The exact profile of a cross-section tree trunk scaled to a size the human brain refuses to process as biological. The columnar basalt formations that geologists attribute to cooling lava, the Giant's Causeway in Ireland, the Devil's Postpile in California, the Svartifoss columns in Iceland, are identical in geometry to the cellular structure of petrified wood at macro scale. Not similar, identical. The hexagonal columnar geometry that lava supposedly produces spontaneously is the same hexagonal geometry that wood cellular structure produces deliberately. And the silicification process, the geological mechanism by which organic material is replaced, molecule by molecule with silicon dioxide, preserving the original structure in stone, operates at exactly the scale the theory requires. We have petrified logs the size of buildings. The process that produces them has no documented upper size limit. The Sahara Desert, which geologists date as having been a lush forested environment as recently as 10,000 years ago, contains petrified tree specimens the size of buildings scattered across its surface. The process scales. The question the theory asks is simply, how far does it scale? And whether the answer to that question is visible from any highway in the American West, where the mesas sit on the horizon looking exactly like what they would look like if the answer was much further than anyone has been prepared to consider.
Drop your thoughts in the comments below. What was it? Are they reptiles? Are they Draco reptilians? Are they demons? What was it?
First, we line the property with crushed eggshells, cascarilla. That's spiritual work. It seals the land. Blue bottles catch wandering spirits.
Red brick dust guards the doorway.
One traps bad energy before it enters, the other stops it at the threshold. The horseshoe upward keeps blessings in, downward guards the home, and the broom upside down seals it. First, we line the property.
Do people really do that? To be honest, now that they said something, I think when I was playing Red Dead Redemption 2, they had hanging bottles like that. And I do think it was a ghost scene right after that too. How crazy is that?
The remarkable works of Canadian inventor John Hutchison has drawn widespread attention from businessmen and government scientists since 1979, when he began using ultra-high electromagnetic frequencies to transform matter in some very unusual ways. It's come to be known as the Hutchison Effect.
It is a form of levitation by translational movement, meaning that the objects become lighter and can float around. Physics of it is self-resonation of what they call a ferromagnetic and piezoelectric barium type name. Basically, this kind of material powering motors.
Hutchison hopes his simple shake and bake method of producing these crystal energy converters will attract investors who can see the potential of permanent batteries which never need charging. Hutchison's more dramatic experiments border on the paranormal and have generated more than just a passing interest from U.S. military research labs.
We've had about 750 demonstrations of levitation, translational movement, metallurgical samples falling apart, changing into transmuted unknown metal. Quite a variety of obscure types of effects, wood impregnated into metals, other objects in metal.
In this remarkable series of video clips shot by Hutchison, we see what happens when he fine-tunes the electromagnetic frequencies aimed at target objects in his garage. ice cream in a plastic cup. And finally, a 70-pound cannonball.
Is interesting and also frustrating about his invention is that he's using a combination of Tesla coil and Van de Graaff to produce a very disruptive and lifting experiments, which in one case, for example, actually lifts a 19-pound bushing toward the ceiling. That's from electromagnetic fields. Now, when we analyze that, we find that there's position versus time graph that we can plot, and also the velocity versus time. But when we actually analyze the acceleration versus time, it's an increasing straight line. So we're forced as scientists to admit that we have third derivative effect, which, for my mind, actually lends itself to an anomalous new force, which I call hyperforce, because we have to take a derivative of that to finally get a flat, straight line, a constantly increasing acceleration. So the Hutchison effect has been used as a benchmark for a comparison to many other high-voltage propulsion devices. Electrogravity, in other words.
The remarkable works of Canadian inventor John Hutchison.
Absolutely fascinating. This video looked like it was taken about 20, 30 years ago, so there's no telling how they were able to fine-tune these crystals and levitation. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I love this stuff. And if you do too, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. It helps the channel out, helps us grow, helps the algorithm out, and get us out there.
You know how they say history is his story and that the victor writes the story? Have you thought about that element in regards to the Great Wall of China? Listen to this, because this changes everything.
Hold on. You're telling me the Great Wall of China isn't just long, it's impossible.
Exactly. People say it's 13,000 miles, but they don't really process what that means. That's 4 times the entire U.S. stretched coast to coast, plus another 1,000 miles, and it was started in 220 BC, before Jesus, before most empires even existed. That's the point.
But how does an ancient civilization build something that massive without modern machines?
It took over 1,000 years. No empire commits that kind of time unless they're terrified of something. And here's the part nobody talks about. The steep defensive side, the battlements, they're facing China, not the outside.
So the wall wasn't built to keep people out.
It was built to keep something in, and some researchers even claim it may not be Chinese at all, but a leftover structure from the old Tartarian Empire. If that's true, then you have to ask yourself, what were they trying to contain?
Okay, so you can fact check this for yourself through imaging and compassing. The defensive side of the Great Wall of China is pointed to inside of China. So to me, that either means they're trying to keep something in, okay, or that it was an empire on the outside of China that built the wall to defend against the inside of China. Or maybe, so that would indicate actually, it wasn't likely Chinese people who lived in China who built this wall with defensive systems and battlements and armaments pointed into China. It's just a bit strange. Now, all I'm saying is we've been lied to about so much. We get lied to in the news about what happened last week. Is it such a stretch, woo, to think we've been lied to about something that happened thousands of years ago? I don't think so. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and follow for more.
Every time I see the Great Wall, I think of that, and they're saying they're trying to keep something out or in. I think about that movie Great Wall with Matt Damon. If you guys haven't seen that, I highly recommend it. I'm not saying they was fighting these alien monsters like in that movie, but it could be a possibility. Who knows? When you start digging into these ancient wars of how the Anunnaki, the custodians and the Greys were trying to defend stuff, and there's ancient wars that they seen on the chronovisor. You know, we really don't know what they was trying to fight. It could have just been empire versus empire battling. We don't know, but one thing's for sure is the Great Wall is massive, and it might not add up. We might need to go to ChatGPT and say, how long would it take and what would it really take? Because ChatGPT would expose and tell you, well, if they use this many bricks and had this many people, it should take this long. Or they could have just been battling baby dragons. Who knows? You know, dragons could have been a problem back in the day. That's why we see them all on their zodiacs and the Japanese and China, you know, they talk about China so much. In Mulan, I think they believe that their ancestors call upon a dragon when they need one. You know, what was his name? Mushu, the little, the red dragon played by Eddie Murphy. You know, they had to summon him to, you know, help Mulan out. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what they believe. I don't know. Alright guys, it's that time of the day again. If you thought you weren't going to get another excellent specimen of the day today, think again, bucko! Hutchison. Hold on. Somebody dropped in the comments and they're like, Chuck, it's Hadouken. No, this is an upgraded form. When I say Hutchison, that's my upgraded special ability. You know, I know it's Hadouken. You know, I was playing Street Fighter the other day. When I say Hutchison, that's my word. It's the Zen at the end. Hutchison. Hutchison. Alright. Now back to it. We have an amazing cuprite. It's an old variety of a red octahedral cuprite coexisting with the geothite originating from Anawi. I don't know what that means, but this specimen is crazy. The rating for this is going to be off the charts. I'm just going to let you guys know. Not off the charts. It's not better. For it to be off the charts, it would have to be better than that alien eye. And there was a couple other ones. This is up there though. I like it. The rating I'm gonna give this, because of the fire hot Cheeto crust on the outside. You got some purple octahedrals slowly transitioning into those raindrop spherical like minerals. It's a lot's going on here. You know, it's a lot for your brain to process looking at this. The texture, the different shapes in the inside. I would give this a 9.4. And I would call this the Alien Cheeto Comet. The Alien Cheeto Comet. You know, it's like the Alien Cheeto Meteorite. Matter of fact, I'm gonna change it up. Instead of comet, it's gonna be meteorite. The Alien Cheeto Meteorite. And I'm giving it a 9.4. What would you guys name this? This video is strictly for entertainment purposes only. Don't believe everything you hear or see. These are just theories, not facts. For context.
If what this man says about the moon is true, then we have been completely lied to about our entire reality. Listen to this.
You put food out in the sun, it gets dehydrated. If I put food out in the full moonlight, it gets putrefied. It putrefies really fast. So it rots. It's exactly opposite. And then you can also, at nighttime, when the moon is full, you can pull out a thermometer and put it out in the light of the moon, right? And let's say that, as an example, the thermometer reads 70 degrees in the full moonlight. If I put it in the shade of the moonlight, it actually gets warmer. And I pull it out, it gets colder again. So the moon's light is cold. It's not hot. So it's not reflecting the sun. It has nothing to do with the sun. That's what I mean by it's its own light. And that's a simple scientific experiment. Anybody can do it. Thermometer. I don't know if you've ever done it, but I've lived in the northern climates before. And a lot of times if I park my car under a tree, I'll come out to my windshield, into my car in the morning, and half of my windshield will be frozen and the other half won't be. It's happened many, many times. And I never really thought about it until a few years ago, and I put it all together. I'm like, wow. The reason it frosted over is because the full moon light hit that part of the windshield, and this part was underneath the tree in the shade.
So we're rotating around the Earth, the sun.
Exactly. I'm proposing to you that the sun and the moon are moving around us, just like it looks like. They are the same size, not 400 miles further, bigger, and 400 times further apart. It's very much the same. The sun and astrologically speaking, I think the moon has just as much of an impact as the sun on us. One is our conscious side, one's our unconscious side. One's gold, one's silver, one's hot, one's cold. From our perspective, the moon and the sun are the same size. From our perspective, but they tell us, science tries to tell us that we're going around the sun and the moon's going around us. It looks like, and from our experience, it looks like the sun and the moon are different. They're the exact same size. They have power. We can feel their power.
Now, I have done that experiment with the thermometer in the moonlight versus the shade that the moonlight casts. And it's true. So logic would tell you if the light from the moon is colder than the shade that's cast by moonlight, that the moon is not reflecting light from the sun and that it's self-luminous. Furthermore, don't you think with the conquesting and setting up civilizations all over the place, don't you think if we could go to the moon, that there would be a Walmart on the moon by now? Or they'd be drilling for oil on it? Or there'd be a McDonald's? And why did Buzz Aldrin say that we lost the technology to be able to go to the moon? Isn't that kind of a strange thing to say, given that we are allegedly advancing technologically every single year? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and follow for more.
Yeah, I wonder what Enoch, Sun and Moon, R.H. Charles. Alright, I just punched in Enoch, Sun and Moon, same size. AI overview says yes, the book of Enoch, specifically 1 Enoch 72 and 37 and 78:3 states that the sun and moon are of equal size. The text describes them as having the circumference that are alike, and that they diminish not in size, even though the sun is described as 7 times bigger than the moon. Key details regarding the size of the sun and moon in Enoch. Equal dimensions. Chapter 72:37 explicitly states, as regard to size, they are both equal. Heavenly bodies. The text presents them 2 great luminaries or lights that move in chariots driven by the wind through portals in the sky. Man, could you imagine being able to see in the spiritual dimension, and you're just looking at the moon, and all of a sudden you see a literal chariot? I don't know what it looks like, if it's horses, if it's some type of mechanical device. I don't know the shape of it, but it's in the spiritual realm. And imagine that just pulling the moon and sun, you know? I take it literally when I see, you know, this stuff. Like, I'm literally thinking, what is going on here? Heavenly bodies. The text presents them as 2 great luminaries or lights that move in chariots driven by the wind through portals in the sky. Dang. What if these portals are just like boosters to like make it fulfill its solstice? You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm kind of envisioning here. While the Book of Enoch claims they are physically the same size, modern astronomy, NASA, confirms that the sun is roughly 400 times larger than the moon. There's something extremely interesting I want to share with you guys that I noticed the last eclipse we had. When we were looking over eclipse patterns or movement, especially over the United States. Let's see if I can get the movement. Okay, here it is. Beautiful. Okay, guys, I want you to take a look at this solar eclipse path, right? I was watching some footage last year, and I just found it incredibly interesting that we could see the full size of the shadow path, right? Is there some type of way we could take the dimensions of the shadow and calculate the distance? And could that possibly be the true size? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I know there's people a lot smarter than me watching me, very wise out there. So that's just something that just crossed my mind while we're speaking about size and dimensions. Is could we take the shadow's dimension versus like the length or height of the light source and possibly get a true size? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Because if we go to the Book of Enoch, chapter 72, The entire chapter is worth a read. It talks about daylight savings time. It talks about the solstice. And they knew this way back in the day without any, well, we don't know, to be honest. They could have had telescopes. I don't take nothing from them. And right here at the end of chapter 72, it says, so it comes that its course becomes daily longer and its course is nightly shorter. And this is the law and course of the sun, and his return as often as he returns 60 times and rises, the great luminary which is named the sun forever and ever, and which thus rises is the great luminary, and so named according to 37, its appearance according to the Lord commanded, as he rises so he sets, and decreases not, and resteth not, but runs day and night, and his light is sevenfold brighter than that of the moon, but as regards sides they are both equal. So they're saying the sun is shining a lot brighter, but when you really boil it down and you look into that little, you really shouldn't be looking at it, but that little blue part inside all the sunshine, that little blue part inside the sunshine is the same size as the moon. And now talking to the moon. And after this law, I saw another law dealing with the smaller luminary, which is named the moon, and her circumference is like the circumference of heaven. So heaven's a circle? Interesting. The circumference of heaven is a circle. And her chariot in which she rides is driven by the wind and light is given to her in definite measure. There goes that beautiful chariot in the spiritual realm, dragging the moon. That would be a sight to see. And her rising and setting changes every month. One thing I noticed about chariot? Didn't Enoch get swooped up in the chariot? They're always talking about this chariot that's moving different stuff. Maybe we need to dive into chariot. Because that's got me thinking, guys. All the times chariot was in the Bible. There's nearly 200 times they mention chariot. I think we have literal chariots, and then we have spiritual chariots. Like referring to David in Chronicles 1:18-4. Didn't Ezekiel say he saw some chariots? Let's see the Ezekiel. What did Ezekiel say about chariots? Wow, look at this picture. How interesting is this? Are those seraphim? Those don't look like angels. Those might be seraphim. And then we got, what is that in the background? I know there's Ophanim, there's Seraphim, there's different angels. I believe these are two different angels right here. Interesting. It reads, now as I looked at the living creatures, I saw a wheel on the earth besides the living creatures, one for each of the four of them. As for their appearance of the wheels and their constructions, their appearances was like the gleaming of a barrel, and the four had the same likeness, their appearance and construction being as it were a wheel within a wheel. When they went in any way their four directions without turning as they went, and their rims were tall and awesome. And the rims of all four were full of eyes and round. And when the living creatures went, the wheels went beside them. And when the living creatures rose from the earth, the wheels rose. Wherever the spirit wanted to go, the wheels, wherever they went, and the wheels rose along with them. For the spirit of the living creatures was in the wheels. When those went, these went. And when those stood, these stood. And when those rose from the earth, the wheels rose along with them. For the spirit of the living creatures was in the wheels. Interesting. Could this be some type of context of what could be dragging the sun and moon possibly? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Because when we go back to Enoch chapter 73, it says, and after I saw another law dealing with smaller luminary, which is named the moon, and her circumference is like the circumference of heaven, and her chariot in which she rides is driven by the wind and light given to her in definite measure. Could this chariot be what he described in Ezekiel? That's just a quick way of, Ezekiel really broke it down for us. I'm like, look, this is what it looks like, y'all. How beautiful is that? And they're just saying her chariot. It could be different, but I can see a correlation here. Could this be dragging the moon and sun in the spiritual realm? These three eerie ads aired shortly after 9/8+3.
But personally, I am just so sick and tired of these taxes. Why do you wish to this? Every time you get a paycheck now, most of it goes straight to the government.
Keep it down. You want somebody to hear you?
I'm just saying, I'm the one who's making the money, and I have no say-so.
You know what you're saying? Just calm down. You want him to ruin your life?
I can do that,
May he bless you and keep you. May he grant you peace. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you all for coming. I'll see you all next week, and please be careful going home.
Excuse me. I can't seem to find these anywhere.
These books are no longer available.
I didn't know.
May I have your name, please?
Why?
Excuse me.
What did I do?
We just have a couple of questions.
Easy.
But personally, I am just so sick and tired.
Electricity, life, they just go hand in hand. So help welcome Paul Babcock.
We're electric beings. We live in an electric field. We actually have two bodies. We have sensing systems. And so this little thing that started out with an MWO that I thought was just for me and my own health turned into this understanding that I think is probably the most important subject that I've ever come across, and how it all crystallized and what it means, and the theory, the electrical theory, and the Tesla's radiant field mechanism that we all live within is probably the number one subject.
Basically, the torus field that we live in on Earth, I believe, is what he is referring to.
That all of us really need to focus on. So the term beneficial field technology came about years of studying and experimenting with all kinds of devices, passive and active. Most of them were like the Lakowski machine. They were created for other purposes, you know, by other innovators for purposes eliminating disease, improving physical vitality and health for humans, plants, and animals. And in the beginning of this journey, I thought it was all for me. So I turned myself into a test bed. And so did some other people. They used me as their test bed. And the one thing I came across, and thank God to the spiritual aspects I've always lived by and the guidance, spiritual guidance I've got that gave me a different aspect, is I realized nobody can understand this stuff. I can't take my oscilloscope to it. I can't test it. I can't use instrumentations to define any of this stuff the way it really works. And then I went back to what I really knew from a very young age, is that we are scientific instruments. And the only instrument I was going to be able to use to understand this stuff was me. Here's my backyard. We're going to show how I learned all this stuff. So right here's my MWO. I got seams of quartzite. So here I live on a granite rock. I've lived on this rock for 20 years. Everybody that knows me has been there and sees this, but this is the Spokane Valley. This was buried under 400 or 500 feet of lava rock for about 20 million years, and then the great Missoula floods came along and they carved out the Spokane Valley and left this exposed, and now I live on it, and the MWO is sitting right in here, and it is tied to this rock quartz structure, and I found that the MWO is highly interactive with the Earth's atmosphere electrical system. That's why it works, because I can see the effects when they happen. That's how I know it. There isn't a camera that can take a picture of it, and I wish I had an instrument that I could take pictures of it for you, but that doesn't do it. And so, just like the stones of Karnak and the pyramids, I'm basically living on a quartz pyramid, and I've got a beneficial field generator hooked up to it. And trust me, it works. Everybody knows discoveries about supposedly there's ancient pyramids all over the place. The government goes digs them up, doesn't tell anybody. So the one that was discovered in Alaska in the 80s, I heard that in the rumor mill. I mean, every third person is a military person in Alaska, so the rumors, you know, that leak out are pretty intense. And so as I'm talking, he says, yeah, that pyramid's real. And they blew it up. And I'm like, well, why would they do that? A total mystery to me. Oh, no, they don't. They destroy the functioning of these things when they find them. And I'm going, oh, that's stupid. Well, now the answer to me is quite plain. If you want to take over the life force generating mechanism of the Earth, and there's an ancient life force generating stabilizer, an enhancement system built that's already still functioning partially, you got to destroy it if you want to take over, right? And then here we put the essential energy light tower in it. Now what this thing is probably one of the most powerful things I come across, and you look at it and you go, it's plates of stainless steel. I still don't understand the technology, but I know what it does. So, another bad thing we have in our atmosphere is RF.
I've seen these before. I've seen people talking about these before. Like someone would be right here, and these two things will like supercharge them. I don't know the effects or what type of vibration or what it does, but I have seen these before. Is this like the ancient med bed?
The higher the frequency, the worse. Why do you think they want 5G? Because they want to control the life force generating mechanism, that electrical mechanism of the atmosphere. 5G interrupts it. The biophotonic system interrupts it radically. So what this thing does is it puts the coherence back to the field. That's a theory. So when you put this thing...
I believe we're on 6G right now, aren't we?
In a space, it conditions the space around it and restores the actual biophotonic process the way it's supposed to work. It takes the electromagnetic effects right out of it, and it works. And when you put this thing into an MWO, watch out. But it depends on the day, and this is where I learned about solar alignments and new moons affect the electrical process of the Earth. Water is a big orgone battery. That's why the underground aquifers. I realized, gee, draining out the aquifers is not a real wise thing to do because they're part of the electrical process of the Earth. They're part of the orgone life force generating mechanism. So, to the future, that's why we're back to Eden. So now that we know this, we get our sensory perception back. You know, we've been basically meat puppets, and there was a reason for that. Because it made us learn. It made us look at it from a different perspective. We wanted to be a technological society. We have reasons why we created technology and explored that three-dimensional way. But now we're to the level to where we're back to the garden. And we incorporate this knowledge. What do you think we can do with our next civilization? And that to me is we don't have to build pyramids. So it's tools of the mouse army. It's basically our weapons of peace. And so what we do, worldwide implementation of this simple technology around the world will actually help do exactly what the ancients did and stabilize and enforce and improve this life-generating mechanism. So if we're all living in real high levels of biofield energy, what's that do for your health, your longevity, the workings of your mind? All our issues get fixed. It's a fundamental precept of ancient civilizations is you turned it into a garden before you moved into it. And we are fully capable of doing that. And we don't have to ask permission because we don't need nuclear power plants. This is simple technology. The light tower, and I'll testify to this from having personal experiences, there's no way I can measure it with an instrument and write you a white paper and see here's my proof. But I can tell you it conditions miles around it, and there's more and more of that evidence coming. Crops grow better. Everything does better. An incredibly powerful...
Electroculture is what I believe it's called. If you're doing a garden this spring, you're starting it, drop some copper rods in there and tell us how it goes. I did it myself, and I've noticed, you know, my strawberries did a lot better. The hornworms eventually got my kale, but for the copper rods I placed inside my strawberries, it definitely helps. I even seen dragonflies and butterflies land on my copper rod too. Wow, how fascinating was that? By Paul Babcock. We are all electric beings. That was fascinating. I really did enjoy that. I wish there was more to that.
Integrated empaths develop what I call witnessing presence, the ability to hold space for others' experiences without absorbing them, to offer wisdom without attachment to outcomes, to love without losing themselves. Jung understood that true empathic service requires self-possession. The integration process teaches you that self-care isn't selfish. It's the foundation of authentic empathy.
Just because they're family doesn't mean you should give them any exception. If you have a brother who's evil, he's evil. You got an uncle who's evil, he's evil. You got a father who's evil, he's evil. I don't care if they have the same last name, they're evil. Just because they're family doesn't mean they're an exception to the rule. Just because they're family.
you shouldn't give up on them either. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that's true, but you shouldn't give up on them. You know, they might not return your calls or, you know, not listen to you. You know, but love them from a distance. If you thought you weren't going to get another excellent... Man, I'm tired of this cord. Hold on a second. Whatever, I'll get it later. If you thought you weren't about to get another excellent specimen of the day today, think again, bucko! Hey, Colton! Alright. Alright, y'all. What we got going on here, man? What an episode, man. This is late. This episode gonna be late, but at least I'm getting it out to y'all, man. We got a gorgeous pyromorphite. Look at... That's literally what it's called, guys. Pyromorphite. That might be the name. A naturally formed cup-shaped bead, a high-quality green, a high collectible piece from Gang X. Gang U, China. Yeah, it is extraordinary. You know, China, they be having some good jade, you know, over there. But this is a pyromorphite. I know what I'm gonna name this. If I had to name this specimen, I would call it Green Apple Pie Dunk. Yeah, you know, like chicken dunks. This is like a green apple pie dunk. You know what I'm saying? You dunk it in some frosting. There you have it. Green apple pie dunk. And I'll give this a 8.8. What would you name it? And drop the specimen name in the comments below. But that's all we got for today's video. If you made it this far, the code word for today is brainwaves. Go ahead and drop brainwaves in the comments below. When you do that, that lets me know you're a real one. You made it all the way through the video and you really rock with your boy. And I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for hanging with me. Be sure you hit that like and the subscribe button on your way out. Helps your boy out, helps the channel grow. And I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. This was the most mysterious TikToks on the internet today. See you later.